In the Moravia region of the Czech Republic, Velké Losiny Paper Mill stood silently amidst a desolate pine forest. The villagers still spoke of the horrific boiler explosion that had claimed the lives of many night shift workers. They said that, ever since that night, anyone who stepped inside the mill felt a chill crawling up their spine. In a small cafe beside the church, Mrs. Jitka, lifelong resident near the mill, spoke to a group of young people. "Don't go there, kids. These days don't listen to the elders." But the spirits in Velké Losiny Paper Mill never rest. They still wander among the dust-covered rollers. They still whisper, warning everyone to leave. The whispers Mrs. Jitka mentioned, the villagers said, echoed through the main hall, the boiler room, and even the empty corridors. No one could see them, but anyone passing through felt the watchful presence of darkness. Elena, Martin, and Sophia sat silently, listening, but curiosity sparkled in their eyes. Elena finally spoke. "What you're telling us is terrifying, but we want to see it for ourselves. We'll come back and record it." Martin frowned, worried. "She already warned us. No one around here has dared go near the mill for years." Sophia sighed, her voice trembling. "But if what she says is true, we need to understand and document it, at least to know that this legend isn't just a made-up story." Mrs. Jitka looked at them sternly and shook her head. "If you go, be careful. Those curious enough to enter Velké Losiny Paper Mill may never come back. The darkness and the spirits of the workers have waited too long. They do not forgive." The young group left the cafe, carrying cameras and recording equipment. Their hearts pounded with a mix of excitement and fear as the mill appeared through the misty pines. Villagers watched from afar, sighing, knowing the legend of Velké Losiny Paper Mill was about to be tested once more. Morning fog covered the Moravian forest, shrouding the dust-laden rollers and rusted iron walls of Velké Losiny Paper Mill. Elena, Martin, and Sophia stood before the gates, hearts racing, hands gripping cameras and flashlights. Silence surrounded them, broken only by the wind whistling through broken windows. Elena exhaled, recording as she spoke. "This is Velké Losiny. No one has dared step inside for decades." Martin remained silent, eyes scanning, sensing someone or something watching them. Sophia bent to touch the thick layer of dust on the floor, hand trembling. "There's something here. Like the paint itself is imprinted on the floor, as if someone just walked through." They pushed open the old iron door, the screech echoing eerily. Inside, darkness and dust filled every corner, and the flashlight beams flickered over abandoned rollers, rusted machinery, and smoky, deserted rooms. In the main corridor, Elena swung the camera and glimpsed a shadow flitting behind them. When they turned, nothing was there. Sophia whispered, voice quivering, "There, watching. The workers' spirits. It feels like they're still here." Martin took a deep breath, trying to reassure them. "It's just a shadow of the light, but I can't deny the feeling of being followed." They moved deeper, passing the boiler room and dusty hallways. Every footstep echoed hauntingly. Metal creaked on old rollers, and distant, heavy breathing seemed to come from somewhere far away, tightening their nerves even more. Elena continued filming, scanning the rusty machinery. Suddenly, Sophia screamed, "Look, on the screen. There's a face, a worker. Looks like he's calling for help." They stopped, staring at the camera screen. There appeared a blurred face, eyes hollow, wearing the faded grey uniform of a long-gone worker. The shadow hadn't been visible to their eyes, only on the screen. Elena shivered. They're still here, still watching us." Sophia frowned, her voice serious. "And they want to warn, or test, us." The group realized that Velké Losiny Paper Mill was not just an abandoned factory. It was a place of darkness, of workers, spirits, and whispers that never ceased. They continued on, both curious and terrified, unaware that every step forward would pull them deeper into a world where time, space, and reality were all twisted. The group ventured deeper into Velké Losiny Paper Mill. Their flashlight beams flickered across dust-covered rollers, rusted walls, and abandoned machinery rooms. Every footstep echoed eerily, as if the entire factory were watching them. Sophie bent to touch the thick layer of dust on the floor, her hand trembling. Do you hear that? There's whispering." Elena stopped, squinting to listen. Faint, indistinct voices seemed to slither through the corridors, coming from the shadows. "Leave, before it's too late. No one escapes." The friends moved further into the mill, passing the engineering rooms and the basement, where the space seemed to stretch endlessly. The flashlight beams flickered across rusted walls. Metal groaned from old machinery. Heavy breathing and constant whispers echoed from every direction. Alina swung the camera around the room, and a shadow flickered quickly, vanishing and reappearing in the darkness. Sophia's voice trembled as she whispered, We shouldn't go deeper. This space, it's not normal anymore." Martin held both their hands tightly, trying to reassure them. "Just stick together. Keep filming. Everything will become clearer." But as they entered the basement, the shadows thickened around them. The hallways twisted unnaturally. The ceiling and concrete floor leaned at odd angles, creating a warped world where time and space were distorted. Elena screamed as she saw the figure of an old worker standing in the darkness, hollow eyes following them. The whispers grew louder, merging with the metallic clang of distant machinery. "No one leaves here. No one escapes." Suddenly, Sophia disappeared behind a trapdoor. Martin and Elena called her name, but no reply came. Only dense darkness surrounded them. They ran after her, but every step seemed to bring them back to the same place, the hallways twisting like a labyrinth. Elena's camera recorded the phantom scenes, shadows darting past, the image of old workers appearing clearer, as if trying to pull them into the darkness. Martin trembled, holding Elena's hand tightly, but the sense of lost control over space made their hearts race. Elena whispered, voice shaking, We're going to be trapped. Velké Losiny doesn't want us to leave." Shadows closed in from all sides, the whispers pressing in. "Leave, before the darkness swallows. No one escapes." In an instant, Martin vanished next, leaving only Elena standing in the basement, heart hammering, eyes scanning the surrounding darkness. She realized the mill never forgave the curious, and anyone who ventured too deep into Velké Losiny could disappear without a trace. The camera kept rolling, capturing every horrifying second, shadows, whispers, clanging metal, and the absence of the friends. After a few minutes, silence returned, leaving only dust and the whistling wind through broken windows. Martin had taken a deep breath, voice trembling. "We should turn back. But we're too curious now." They continued, but the shadows multiplied, moving in the corners of the hallways, flickering in and out. Elena swung the camera across rooms, revealing blurred images of old workers hollow-eyed, hands twitching as if trying to say something. Sophia whispered, They want to warn us, but also test us." The deeper they went, the more warped the space became. Hallways stretched endlessly, ceilings and concrete floors slanted, flashlight beams flickering as if pulled into the darkness. Metal groaned constantly from the rollers, merging with the heavy breathing echoing from the old boiler room. Elena filmed the engineering room. On the screen, shadows appeared more clearly. Faces of old workers emerged, blurred and distorted, invisible to the naked eye, yet captured in every detail by the camera. "No one leaves here. No one escapes." Sophia shivered. They're not just shadows. They exist in this space, and in time itself. Martin sighed, trying to calm the group. "As long as we move carefully and film everything, at least we'll know the truth." But as they neared the boiler room, a shadow streaked behind them. The old door trembled slightly. The friends panicked, hearts pounding. The whispers grew louder. "Leave, before the darkness swallows." They realized Velké Losiny was not just an abandoned mill. It was a place where darkness, workers, spirits, and pain converged, ready to challenge anyone curious enough to enter. They pressed on, terrified yet driven by curiosity, unaware that every step took them closer to vanishing. A week later, the villagers of Velké Losiny decided to check the mill's gates. Rumors about the missing youth had spread, and cautious concern urged them to investigate. At the entrance, they found the group's camera lying on the dusty ground. No one was there, only the camera still running, its red light flickering weakly. Mrs. Gitka trembled, murmuring, "The spirits, they're still there. They do not forgive the curious." The villagers carefully took the camera home and watched. The footage, what they saw was horrifying. Shadows darting through the hallways, appearing and vanishing. The hollow-eyed faces of old workers, following the friends, warped hallways and slanted ceilings, flashlight beams flickering as if pulled into darkness. Heavy breathing, clanging metal, and persistent whispers. "No one leaves here. Leave, before the darkness swallows." The camera recorded every terrifying second, yet there was no sign of Elena, Martin, or Sophia. The villagers understood. The friends had become part of the legend, lost in the darkness of Velké Losiny Paper Mill. Since then, the story has served as a warning to anyone daring enough to enter the mill. Velké Losiny is not merely abandoned. It is a place where darkness and worker spirits combine, watching and punishing the curious. Anyone venturing deep may disappear, leaving behind only cameras and whispers. The villagers still tell the tale, eyes fixed on the mill, a place where darkness never leaves, and the pain of the workers' spirits lingers, waiting for the next curious souls.
Thank you for following.